We are here with a new book summary for the Listen Book Summaries YouTube channel. Today's book is Emotional Vampires by Albert Bernstein. This book will teach you about those who aim to harm or manipulate emotions. Remember that no book summary is as effective as reading the original. Today we are going to give you the chance to have a pre-tasting of the book. I hope it will be an enjoyable experience. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications. If you're ready, let's start. About the author. Albert Bernstein is a clinical psychologist, speaker, author, and business consultant. He focuses on dealing with difficult personalities. Intro. The vampires of Albert J. Bernstein are some of the most renowned personality disorders: antisocial histrionic, narcissistic, obsessive, compulsive paranoid. Each of them is driven by an immature and impossible need that, to them, is the most important thing in the world. But to most people, it only serves to make their lives a living hell, if they allow the vampires to do so. The difference between emotional vampires and other disorders is the impact on people's lives, writes Bernstein. When people are driving themselves crazy, they have neuroses or psychoses. When they drive other people crazy, they have personality disorders. I love a good and simple summary. 1. Antisocial vampires. Antisocials hate boredom. They love parties, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And in their pursuit of excitement often end up breaking both laws and social conventions. Protection against antisocial vampires. Recognize them before they turn on the charm. Check their references and their past. What they've done in the past is the best reference for what they'll do in the future. Get to know them well before you open your heart or your wallet. 2. Histrionic vampires. They live for attention and approval. Drama is their key word. In all sense, what you see is not what you get, and they make a big fuss out of everything. Looking good is their specialty, and all else is an unimportant detail. Think they never do anything unacceptable, either mistakes or immoral thoughts. Their behavior is more directed at fooling themselves than fooling you. Many self-help gurus and public speakers are histrionics. Seductive histrionic may hit on your BF or hit on your GF not to steal them, but for the attention. 3. Narcissistic vampires. They live out their grandiose fantasies of being the most talented, most skilled, smartest, and all-around best people in the world, writes Bernstein. It's not so much that they think of themselves as better than other people, as they don't think of other people at all. If they can't win big, they find small ponds that let them be big fishes. They find people whose need to be needed makes them feel adored. Superstar narcissists have super high standards which don't accept failure from them and the people around. They hate passive aggression, but attract it because of their aggressive ways of dealing with failure, expect loyalty, and can spend quite a bit to get back at people. Exactly what Trump says in The Art of the Deal. Narcissism means never having to say, "You're sorry." Protection against narcissistic vampires. They don't do much of anything that isn't self-serving. But if you can manage to tie your interest to theirs, then it's possible they will take you places. If your boss is a narcissist, says the author, your success and happiness are contingent upon indulging their every whim. Do that or move, I'd add. Narcissists wear expensive watches so they can look at them when someone else is talking. 4. Obsessive-compulsive vampires. They're somewhat opposite to antisocials. They are addicted to safety. The way to achieve safety is by full control over everything and scrupulous attention to detail. Take long to make a decision, will rarely, if ever, show appreciation. Confuse process with the product. How things get done can become more important than getting it done. Puritans and perfectionists are obsessive-compulsive. They kill visions. Don't listen only to them when it comes to big ideas. Writes the author. For people who only want everything to be right, perfectionistic vampires can cause an incredible number of things to go wrong. 5. Paranoid vampires. They see patterns and things that others can't. But since they see a bit too much, sometimes what they see is true and they come up with a new theory or foil a dangerous plan. But other times it isn't and they just drive themselves and the people crazy. Their goal is to reduce ambiguity in life, search for truth, and explanations where there might be no simple truth, live by concrete rules, and expect others to live by them as well. Search for evidence of deviation, and they usually find it. Moralists, visionaries, theorists, and goo therapists have a touch of the paranoid protection against paranoids. If you are hiding something, they will find it. Tell the truth. How emotional vampires trick. You emotional vampires use the same techniques as hypnotists. They are misdirection. Focus attention on them, not on what they're doing. Identification. They identify the most likely victims who are most likely to give them what they want. Isolation. They isolate victims from others. Control. They use your own desires to control you. Alternate reality. They create illusions based on what you want and need. False choices. Put you in a bind where one choice seems impossible, and leverage the fear of negative consequences being bigger than the consequences. And this is how you recognize the danger signs of hypnosis. Deviating from standard procedures. If you find yourself doing unusual things for someone, watch out thinking in superlatives. When you think of someone as best and most, it's a warning sign. Instant rapport. It's usually the result of someone presenting a fake persona. Just you would like to meet one. Lack of concern with objective information. If you feel sure about something without concrete proof, watch out. Confusion. If you feel confused, don't do anything until you figure out what's going on. Isolation. If you're getting too much into them and letting go of everything else, watch out healthy vs personality disorders. The author asks, if emotional vampires are a bit like children, what does it take to be a grown-up? Well, the answer is this: perception of control. Emotional vampires see themselves as victims of fate. Things happen, and they don't learn from mistakes. Feeling of connection. Becoming an adult means learning to live by the social rules. Other people are the same as I am. Empathy is what maturity is about. To vampires, other people only supply their needs. What's fair is fair. Vampires' idea of fair is to get what they want. Others have the right to deny me. Vampires believe whatever they want should be given to them regardless of how others feel. Finally, the author says that to grow is to do things that are difficult. But at this one, vampires are better. Because of their immaturity, they operate at the edges of creativity, dealing with emotional vampires. Emotional vampires lack integrity. They are hollow inside. When they give you something or offer help, they usually have an agenda. They are most dangerous when you need something and your guard is down. Where most people would then see someone in need, emotional vampires see a golden opportunity. Emotional vampires see your weakness as an opportunity. The best strategy to contain them is what you'd use on children: setting limits, arranging contingencies, being consistent, keeping lectures to a minimum, rewarding good behavior and ignoring bad, occasionally putting them in timeout. Emotional vampires aren't evil, just immature. Emotional vampires are not necessarily evil, says Albert Bernstein, but their immaturity leads them to operate without distinguishing much between what's good and bad and what will be good and bad for the people around, he says. Emotional vampires are not intrinsically evil, but their immaturity allows them to operate without thinking about whether their actions are good or bad. Vampires see other people as potential sources for whatever they happen to need at the moment, not as separate human beings with needs and feelings of their own. Rather than evil itself, vampires' perceptual distortion is a doorway through which evil may easily enter. These are the mindsets that can make them dangerous. My needs are more important than yours. Rules apply to others, not me. It's not my fault, ever. I want it now. If I don't get my way, I throw a tantrum. Real-life applications. Cultivate your weirdness and rebellion for creativity. The author says that creativity cannot be turned on and off like a water tap. Creativity comes from rebellion, and it's only called creativity when it produces something useful. Other times it's called being weird or having a bad attitude. People who like things as they are don't create anything new. Don't let emotional vampires hold you back from living your best life. Join us on this journey to understand, confront, and conquer the emotional challenges that may be hindering your personal and professional growth. Like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest book summaries and insights.